If you explore our startup project here, you'll see that you can teleport freely around on the ground plane, but you can't teleport to the top of the boxes or to the top of our room. And that's because of the way that the navigation mesh is set up here. So if we go over to the world outliner and we click on navigation and then on nav mesh bounds volume and press F, you'll see, let's actually go to the left viewport. You'll see that the nav mesh bounds volume encompasses the ground plane, but it does not encompass the top of these boxes or the top of our building. Let's go back into perspective and we'll zoom forward. And I'll press P on the keyboard to make the nav mesh visible. So any of these green areas that you see in the level can be teleported to. You see that we can't teleport to the inside of these boxes, and that's because of the way that the nav mesh modifier volumes have been set up in the level. So if I select one of the modifier volumes from the world outliner and press F, that will zoom us in on one of them. Let me change this to wireframe mode so that you can better see where that box is. So that box that's been placed inside of the others basically tells Unreal that we don't want for the player to be able to go to the center of this space. So let me show you how we can make a couple of quick changes just to illustrate how this works. So let's go to the nav mesh bounds volume. I'm going to go back to the right viewport and I'll press R to turn on the scaling tool, and let's scale this nav mesh bounds volume up and move it up. And now if we go back into perspective, you'll see that it's possible now to teleport to the top of these locations since the spots have been turned green. But suppose that suppose we want the player to be able to get to the tops of the boxes but not to the top of this room for some reason. The way that we could achieve that result is we could go over to the mode panel. We could search for nav and find the nav modifier volume and drag it over. And by pressing R to turn on the scale tool, we can just scale this up to eliminate that part of the navigation mesh.